Hello. Hello. Yes. Okay, I've got unstable on my screen, so apologies if we have any issues from here on in. Obviously Tucker's streaming wasn't working, so I'll try instead. In case you don't know who I am, SunGod26, stream on Tuesday nights for no assist. I usually race in this tier, but thanks to my new wheel, I am very slow. Coming to the end of Q1, obviously bottom 5 will be dropping out. Currently so far will be Exotic, Colucci, Ripley, Padge, and debutant here tonight in the Ferrari. I'm not too sure what I should call him. I guess I'll call him Shake My Head, SMH. I've still got unstable on my screen, so until that goes to excellent, I won't be fully happy. Let me know if there's any issues in the stream for you guys. Shake My Head goes 9th fastest. Ripley, not expecting him to drop out of Q1, neither Exotic, so would definitely be a bit of a shock if they were to drop out in this early part of qualifying, as someone has just gone across the line, and it's a blue car, possibly Greg, going 5th. That's a nice lap there from Greg. Deflated Week currently fastest. Adrian up there with him, as well as Josh, within half a tenth. 3 drivers at the moment. It's quite similar to what we saw on Tuesday night. Very close timing differences in quali. Padge is coming through Sector 1, hasn't got a time on the board yet as TD retires in 14th. Ahead of his, I was going to say ahead of his teammate, but he's in a Ferrari, so he's not. Touchwood, stream looks fine at the moment, cool. And I've got excellent on my screen. Praise be to the F1 Jesus. So fingers crossed, this stream won't have any problems. I may disconnect from the lobby, but hopefully the stream will still be good. So yeah, bottom 5 are all out on track right now. Gonna set up a very tense 30 seconds or so. Ripley goes 4th and puts himself through into Q2. Drops TD out of qualifying. Karis is the time to beat on a 20.8. Can Padge going to be fine, and he can't make it through. What about his teammate Colucci though? He's come into the line and goes into the pit, so Colucci and Padge will be out of qualifying in Q1. What about Exotic? As we said, not expecting him to drop out. However, that's a 1 minute 42, and he will start 19th on the grid. Mason, as you can see on the lap delta, 1 minute 30 already, so he will be starting in 17th place. He spun, thank you Snacks. Appreciate that. And look how close it is between 18th on a 1 minute 20.9 and Tamino in 6th on a 20.4. Half a second separating 6th to 19th. That is how close it is in this division, and only 1 second separating the full 20 drivers here. So yeah, that is how close the fights are going to be tonight. Fortunately, TD in 16th, dropping out. Mason in 17th, Padge 18th. Exotic, who's spun at turn 4 and 5, will start 19th on the grid, and Colucci at the back, qualifying on the mediums in Q1 like he did on Tuesday night, but unfortunately just couldn't get that quicker lap on the soft tyres in. So top 15 separated by just over 6 tenths And as you can see, a handful of drivers using those mediums, saving a set of soft tyres for qualies 2 and 3, and potentially the race. Let me know the weather in the chat, because I have no idea. Dry, thank you very much. So, no exclamation mark rain to put in the chat here tonight. What the telemetry says. Sorry. Evening Novatech, snacks from the mill. Nice to have you and anyone else who's lurking. I'm going to ask the game in a bit. Okay. Thank you very much. So in Q2, will we see anyone else go on to a set of tyres that isn't softs? Unlike Exotic. Happened to me a lot more this season than I'd hoped. And again, this is Assist Tier 1. It's very competitive. Probably the most competitive Assist Tier 1 we've actually seen in years. And we've been doing APS before IRL for 8 seasons. This is season 3 now. So in 11 seasons, we haven't really seen an Assist Tier 1 as competitive as this. I mean, it's just anyone could go out here. Anyone could go out in Q2. Anyone could make a mistake and invalidate a lap, or go for a spin, or have a crash. Oh, as we see an Alfa Romeo of John Pant go for a bit of a spin at turn 6. Lost the rear going into turn 3, just took too much speed. Do you mean the chicane? That's turn 4, mate. Turn 3's the long right-hander. You're on an outlap, Snack. Stop typing in chat. You are ridiculous, mate. So unless you guys want a track tour, or if you've already had one from Tucker, let me know in the chat if you want one, but we'll assume that we don't need one. So then Snacks, first to start a flying lap in Q2, fitting the slower yellow marked mediums on the car, meaning the lap time may not be the quickest we see in this session, however, hoping to save a set of soft tyres and still make it through to the final part of qualifying, where the top 10 will fight it out for pole position. Yes, the 00 wings are here and now a thing. Yes, they are. Have been for a while, I think, since the performance patch. 00 wings are very useful here, which is obviously without any rear wing to keep that back end stable. It's all about driver and car control. Some are better at it than others. I personally like to have a more stable rear of the car, but that's just me. And thank you for the follow, M. Carly Dag. Appreciate that. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Very close to our follower goal of 550. We're only 5 away now, so 545. Thank you very much for the follow. And for Senna Sempri earlier on this evening as well. Appreciate that. Snacks, that's a pretty good lap time on the mediums. A 120.2. Very similar to what we saw from Deflated Wheat at the top of Q1, so I'm sure Snacks will be happy with that as he attempts to move out the way of an Aston Martin. Also using the mediums on the 20.8, so still over half a second off of Snacks' pace there, which shows just how good Snacks' lap was. Good evening, TD. Unlucky you went out of Q1, mate. Greg and John Pant with lap times on the board, but as we saw from last session, those will not get you through into the top 10. Track is improving, getting quicker all the time. The more rubber driven on the track, the more grip you have, the faster you can go. So it might be a case of whoever gets the last flying lap on the board will get the best track conditions. Shake Me Heads goes third fastest on a 21.0. Annoyed about your Q1, but it's fine. Alright, mate. You win some, you lose some, as they say. Karis goes third fastest. Nice lap there, considering Karis usually races on Sunday nights in Assist Tier 2. We can confirm that Assist Tier 2 race will be going ahead this weekend on Sunday night. It won't be at 7:30 PM as normal, it'll be 8 PM. Instead of full quali, we'll have short quali, just to accommodate the end of the In Real Life Brazil Grand Prix. But the drivers almost unanimously decided that they still wanted to race. If there's a red flag in the In Real Life race, then we still go ahead. So Irosh J, the alien that he is, wins 1 in 4 races he races and goes fastest in Q2 with a 1 minute 20.0. Deflated Wheat, nice lap there on the mediums as well. Sub using the mediums as well. That's a nice little lap from him, considering he races an 82 as well. So, as Mr. Wiggles goes just fractionally slower than Ross there at the top. No one really on a lap, with Adrian just finishing his, Wiggles and Ross just finishing theirs. Hey, Kate. Tucker gave the stream a start and it disconnected a couple of times, so I said the offer's there if you want me to take it on instead of you tonight, that's absolutely fine. So we gave it a go and it seems to be a bit better, so apologies, I'm not your bestie, but if you want me to, that's all good. Getting the standings up, obviously with no assist. If you tune in on Tuesday nights, you'll know that there's quite a big championship lead with only, gosh, how many races left of the season after this one? Only 6 races after this one. So with 7 races left, Josh is leading the championship by only 43 points. Deflated Weeds in second, Adrian is third, only 48 points away. So Josh is obviously here as Felix goes third fastest. Nice lap there, ahead of Snacks and Wee on the medium tyres. That's quite important, actually, to be ahead of those on the mediums if you can. As Tamino's gone for a bit of a spin. Saw a couple of spins from Tamino on Tuesday night. Hopefully you can iron them out and have a better race here tonight. So whatever happens tonight, Josh will still be in charge of the championship fight. However, obviously, if he can outscore Deflated Wee and Adrian tonight, then definitely looking like his case for this championship is very solid. So If you guys want to watch anyone specifically on board, just let me know in chat. Next time they go on a lap, we'll spectate them. Same for Q3 as well. Oh, I appreciate that, Kate. Josh. Ripley. Okay. Five minutes left of Q2. Still plenty of time for drivers to come in and out of the pits. Obviously, only 1 minute 20-ish to get round here, as Hungry Throne has gone fastest whilst I wasn't looking. Leaving the pits, I'm sure people will be around 2 minutes left on the clock for their final runs. Yeah, welcome to AT1 Novatech, and it's quicker from here. Possibly thinking about if Tamino could manage 80 night. He wasn't able to, but maybe tonight is a bit different. Maybe there's a few different drivers that could possibly push that 1 minute 18 bracket. I'm not sure, Kate, you can call your boyfriend stupid in chat. Josh goes fastest, Ripley goes third fastest. Top 10 separated by 9/10. That's all it takes here. But usually around Q2 and Q3, people start to find their groove a bit. Q1 tends to be a bit more closer with that bottom chunk, that bottom 10 drivers, but when you get into Q2 and Q3, the level gets up every single session. Not only because the track's getting better, but drivers are finding their groove. And in Assist Tier 1, drivers are really, really good at finding their groove pretty quickly in qualifying. If that's his nickname, that's alright then. Kari's currently 13th fastest, only a handful of milliseconds away from sub. As Shake Me Head's out on a lap. First we've seen Shake Me Head. Got very limited ERS left, so Adrian has completed a lap in the last few moments and has gone 6th fastest, improving on his 1 minute 20.5. Who is closest to the start-finish line? It's Snacks. This is a very lovely 6 minute 53 lap time so far. Obviously, Snacks, that 7 minute lap time you've just done isn't quick enough. But putting on a set of those Red Mark soft tyres now. Should get some solid improvement here compared to that medium run. You can't remember who I am, Ripley. I'm going to leave you guessing. Don't tell him, chat. But thank you for the compliment, I appreciate that. Don't flatter him too much. You need to get your patootie in the commentary box, 1010. We've missed you. Your Sunday night streams with TD were god tier. No pun intended. Yes. Yes, call me God. Snacks, nice lap there. Only 2 milliseconds away from the top spot. I'm sure I mean, I say he wouldn't mind too much, but I know Snacks. He'll be fuming at that. He should be good enough to get him through to Q3, though, so in the end, he will be happy with that. Yes, exactly. Exotic. Well, there you go. Deflated Wii has displaced the 2 alien Red Bulls. He is fuming. I'm in his pie. Honestly, I am not surprised at all. I can imagine, honestly, he'll be going on for the rest of the session about that. So you might want to mute him. To every streaming Sunday, don't look at. I will put a chat in the streamers chat in Discord and say everyone watch Novatech. It could be Padge or Snacks, so failing that, it could be me as well. So Tamino, no lap time on the board, a little bit of a surprise as checker flag has fallen, 5 drivers already finished, Sheikh Mied is already retired in the session and won't make it through. Greg has been dropped down now by Tamino, who will safely make it through the next part of qualifying. Felix Bakero, though, is 2 tenths up in Sector 2, which is what he needs. He is currently the time to beat, and he is currently in 10th, but with only a 1/10 buffer behind and 3 drivers out on laps behind him. He will want to improve here. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2. I believe John Pant is going slowly and has backed off his time. Car Reese also has invalidated, so both of them won't make it through. The only one who could make it through is Sub, but looking at his time delta, I don't think he will make it through either. And there you have it. I think he's run out of fuel now, Sub as well. Akari's glitch again. Well, never mind. Make your mind up. Akari's loves a good qualifying glitch. So then, the gap between the top 15 was 6 tenths. Now the gap in the top 10 in Q2 was, again, 6 tenths of a second. Dropping out, we have Greg, Sub, someone else who I can't see on my screen, John Pant, and Akaris. Evening, TJ. Hope you're well, mate. Oh, I apologise if I got stuff messed up. So with the battle for pole position coming up, Deflated Wii currently has a 2.5 tenth advantage on the rest of the pack. Let's get your predictions in chat for pole position. Who do you think, based on what we've seen so far, is gonna make it? Could be a toss-up between 3 or 4 different drivers here in this session that have displayed some very good pace so far. And if you get the prediction right, you win an imaginary cookie. Gosh, how lucky you are. So for Wiggles, Snacks, Felix, Josh, Adrian, Hungry Throne, Deflated Wii, Tamino, Ross and Ripley, that is a star-studded, shall we say, lobby of people for this top 10 shootout. And really, I wouldn't put it past any of these drivers that could possibly get pole position. "12 minutes then to decide the top 10 grid slots for the Italian Grand Prix. After quali, we will have a minute break. And then we will get straight into the race. No formation lap. Too many bugs. Snacks has got the mediums fitted on the car right now, but I'm sure he'll come out on softs. As Mr. Wiggles heads MVR Tamino. Ross, meanwhile, is the first out on track. So the calm before the storm. Before all of these drivers who are all out on track now. Adrian just coming out of the pits now. May have to drive fast to avoid blocking Ross on his flying lap, but I'm sure he can manage that. 10 drivers now jockeying for position. They're pretty spread out on the track, which you don't see very often. Usually you see a bit of congestion in one of the sectors with multiple cars setting their first flying laps, but not today. Although Tamino has overtaken someone before his lap, as Ross goes over turn 4 and turn 5 chicane. So that will obviously mean that that lap time is not going to be very quick at all. Go on board then with Mr. Wiggles. May get a bit of a slipstream from Ross if he's lucky. So Mr. Wiggles sets the session off with a 1 minute 20.0. Nice lap from him there. Identical almost to what he did in Q2. Deflated Wee goes faster in on a 1 minute 19.7. That's 0.3 slower than what he managed last session. Snacks is out on the medium compound tyres, which is a bit of a surprise, but maybe he's just burning a set and then going out on softs later on. Josh goes fastest on a 19.6, and quite predictably Snacks does go slower than Mr. Wiggles on those medium compound tyres, but that is his personal best on that set of tyres, so that's a decent lap from Snacks there. Hungry Throne goes second fastest on a 19.7. And Ripley does exactly the same lap time as Deflated Wee, 119.756. Felix on a 20.2 slots into 7th place right now, but Adrian comes across the line, and that is a 1 minute 20.3 and will slot into P8. Ross on his second run now on these same set of tyres might not give as much grip as his competitors around him, but still manages a 20.1 and goes 6th fastest, so it's pretty close there at the top. Obviously the top 4 only separated by less than 1/10. And you've only got 0.3 separating Wiggles in 5th and Adrian in 9th. So no one on a lap right now. People heading back into the pits for a new set of tyres. Round 1 then goes to Josh. Bit of a lift for Tamino. This is out lap actually, so it doesn't really matter. So Tamino then, last one out on track. The only one out on track right now as Ross heads back into the pits for a new set of tyres. What can Tamino manage? And where can he slot in? He's got his teammate in 8th place. So, really, for Haas's sake, they'll be hoping for a bit higher than 8th on the grid. Tamino, bit of a wiggle there through turn 4. Plenty of curve in turn 7. DRS now down underneath the bridge. Scary. Oh, and more lag. That looked certain as if he was barrier, but so Tamino then a 1 minute 19.6 to beat, and it's a 19.3. Tamino goes provisional pole, and I'm waiting for the comments going, OMG, how fast is that? Wow, what a lap time. I mean, I'm not really too surprised by Tamino anymore. He's almost, if he carries on the way he is, he will definitely, by the end of the season, be IRL's record pole position holder. There is a massive jump from 81 to 82, TJ. Obviously, with 82, you can easily be too fast. But really, there's no limit on how fast you can go here. The limit is the world record time in TT. So, generally, you'll see a lot closer racing in 82 because there's limitations. But in 81, like, sky's the limit. So you think maybe Josh has got pole with that 19.6, and then someone will just pop in with a 19.2 or a 19.1, and all of a sudden, what you thought was possible has just been ripped up. So you don't see too many races where the gaps are really small. Instead, what you kind of see is how fast people can go. And that's what makes Thursday night so enthralling. Mr. Wiggles 2 tenths up through the middle sector. Not quite good enough to break him into the top 5, but definitely heading in the right direction there. Around the final corner. Drivers love to take a nice tight line with the exit of the corner, and it's a 19.7. Can't quite, as we say, break into the top 5, but definitely puts himself in that cluster as Ross is aiming to follow suit. Ross has got 4 tenths to make up if he wants to join 4 drivers on a 1 minute 19.7. Currently 2 tenths up in sector 1 though. Just under 3 tenths up, so Ross will stay P7 with this lap, but again, improvements all around. Might find himself above his good old buddy Wiggles in a few moments' time. So Ross across the line, it's a 19.8, so he did improve in that final sector, but not by enough to improve his place. And that gap between 2nd and 7th is less than a 1/10 and a half. It is so close right now at the moment. Snacks is on an out lap, Adrian is on a lap 2. But the red light flashing at the back of the car means he has turned off the ERS. So Hungry Throne then. Ooh, and that's a bit too much curb going into the second corner, and that one's not what he was hoping for. Ripley coming round the final corner to start a brand new lap. Snacks is on a lap 2. We'll assume that Wiggles and Ross haven't gone for 2 runs in a row. 1 minute left of session. Tamino, Felix back out on track on an out lap. Cross the line comes Josh to start a new lap as Ripley only just narrowly off of his personal best in the first sector. It's hard to gain too much time here around this track. One mistake, one bad corner can really ruin your lap here. Obviously, if you don't maximise your exit out of a corner, you've got a whole straight where you're losing time. So really, the corners here are more important than the straights itself. Perfect the corners, and you will perfect this lap. And he's getting a lovely little tow here from his teammate. Ripley gets released. How much time will that have given him through this final sector? As he comes across the final corner, checkered flag has fallen, and Ripley improves to second fastest, but can't get on provisional pole, but he does stick it on the front row as things stand. Hungry Thrones finishes in 4th, Wiggles and Ross finish respectively 6th and 7th for this session at best. And there goes Snacks up into 3rd on a 1:19.5. Nice lap there from Snacks under pressure, was down in 8th. Decent improvement. But what can the current pole sitter Tamino do? Round the final corner, will we see an improvement? Will we see a 1:18? No, we won't, but it's 19.1 and it's provisional pole by now 0.3 of a second as Josh goes back onto the front row and Deflated Weed pops up there in 4th onto row 2. What about Felix? What can he do? Adrian Pitts, he'll start 10th on the grid. And here comes Felix to finish the session, and he stays 9th. And misses out on a 1:19 by a couple of milliseconds there. Wow, that got a little bit too exciting at the end of it. But Enviar Tamino, once again, with a pole position, going faster than what he managed on Tuesday night. And had a bit of a slow start to quali tonight, but in the end, he finished quali exactly like he wanted to. Enviar Tamino on pole position. Noveltech, can I see how many points I've been in on accidents I'm involved in? Yeah, if you look at the standings, and then it will say drivers, teams, and then it will say points or incidents. Penalties, it will say. Click on penalties and it will say how many penalty points you've got for assist tier 2, mate. Thank you, Snacks. I'm seeing something in Discord. Ross has just told Tamino that he's cost TD 100 quid. I wonder if TD's made a bet of 100 quid that Tamino won't get pole here tonight. Although I doubt TD has 100 quid spare. You got to do it last to points. Well, best of luck from that. Obviously, out in Q1, Exotic, best of luck for the race. And indeed, Tomino is different gravy. Ridiculous, yeah. It is, but that's what we were saying in AT1. Just when you think someone has done the best lap you've seen in a league race or whatever, someone will pop in there with a quicker one and you'll just go, what? Is that even possible? But that's just, you know... yeah, that's just how it goes. 9 penalty points is the threshold for a qualifying ban. If you reach 12 in a season, you get a full race ban. And then 18 is the next threshold, where you get a second race ban. And by that point, management will probably have a chat with you about how you can improve your racecraft. Let's do a featured driver. And who shall we pick? Let's go with the leader of the No Assist Championship so far. IIRL J, featured driver, in case you're new around here or haven't heard it before on this channel, basically a way for us guys to understand, get to know the drivers a bit better rather than just having gamer tags on a screen. So IIRL J is 22 years of age from a place called Leeds in England. What he does for a living, he is an MET technician, brackets repairing cars for insurance companies. So if you've had a dodgy car replacement or repair, blame Ross. If he has a dream job, would be he would love to work for a race team of some sort. Any hobbies or interests? He raced 125cc senior Rotax Max, and I love modifying my car. So he's all about engineering, I guess. He races on a Fanatec Club Sport 2.5 wheelbase, Fanatec Formula V2 wheel with the advanced paddle module upgrade, and Fanatec V3 pedals. A favourite driver could be F1, NASCAR, Rally, whatever sport you want. He says he has a couple of favourites. He likes the Solbergs in Rally, Lewis Hamilton in F1, also likes Colin McRae and riders from the Isle of Man TT like Michael Dunlop and Guy Martin. His best track or favourite track on the calendar is Imola. Racing strengths, he says race pace, not crashing, clean driving and tyre management. And his hopes and goals for Season 3, obviously he won the NA Championship last season. He says he wants to make less mistakes this season, so certainly is doing that on Tuesday nights. And his rival, of course, is his good old friend, Mr. Wiggles. Leeds fan? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's massive on football actually. TD's a Leeds fan. So, driver statistics for IIRL J, and I hope you're ready for this because this is just absolutely incredible. And if you need to pause the stream for a bit and just cry for a little bit at how slow you feel, that's fine. Ross has done 108 races with only 4 pole positions, but has taken a record 26 wins in IRL. Has 59 podiums to his name. I'm pretty sure that was 60 from Tuesday night. Has almost 100 points finishes. So he's raced 108 and scored points in 94 of them. He's only got 9 DNFs on his record and has scored almost 1,700 points in this league. He is absolutely incredible. If there's anyone you want racing for you, it's IIRL J. And the thing is, he doesn't qualify amazingly. All of his strength comes in the race. So if Ross qualifies anywhere near the front, you know, expect a Ross podium at the very minimum. Don't worry, TJ, yours will come, mate. So 20 drivers here in Monza. This is Tier 1, 27 laps, and they are underway. No formation lap, of course, with all the bugs, and a bit of a bogged down start. Has to just slot in behind a couple of places there. Tamino going side by side with Josh. Good driver respect. A couple of drivers cutting over the first corner there. I think Deflated William Ripley cutting over as someone's in the background. I think it's Sub for Lime going through the... actually, it could be Greg, actually, with that 10-second penalty. Just missing the first corner going through that runoff area. We've got Shape Me Ed making movements ahead of Adrian. That's a nice little place there from the newbie. And so far, so good. No real issues. Everyone following in suit. No massive gaps forming, so no one's really had any issues. As Hungry Throne getting pretty close to the back of Ross. And, well, Lincoln, you missed it. Ross is already up 3 places off his starting grid slot. That's how good he is at starts. That's how good he is in the race. And I'm sure Ross, our feature driver, will provide for us great action that we can watch here tonight. Opening lap. And let's get some position changes. Exotic, currently the highest moving starter. as we see Ross going for a move on Ripley. Bit of wheel contact, but Ross gets a better exit out of 2. Looks to be ahead now, but Ripley fighting back, as Ross, if he makes this move, will be up 4 places, similar to Leclerc-Hamilton, but thankfully Ripley not run out of road like Hamilton was. What's happened to Snacks in the background? I think he's had a bad turn 4 and 5, lost a couple of places. Currently down 5 is Snacks, so not the best opening couple of laps he was hoping for, but is definitely still in the hunt. Shake Me Head, great start from him as well, up 4 places, made that 5. He is really making moves here through the field, and I wonder, he's on a set of soft tyres, that's why. Let's have a look at the tyre situation. So Shake Me Head obviously with a brilliant start up 5 places so far, but is using a set of soft tyres, so that will mean a 2-stop strategy there probably. Everyone else is on either the mediums or the hards. Tamino opting for the hards like he did on Tuesday night. Ripley also on the hard compound tyres. That's probably why Ross got past him at the first couple of corners, but Ripley going for it. Oh, and either that was a bit of a late move there from Ripley. I think Ross closed the door, but there was an incident last week in Netherlands that the stewards had a look at where it looked like Ripley closed the door on Ross, and definitely there it looked like Ross closed the door on Ripley. So maybe a bit of mind games going on between them two. And Ripley's lost out to Wiggles in the process. Shake Me Head's past Hungry Throne now up into 7th place. He is really flying on his debut, and John Pant has had a bit of a spin at the first Lesmo corner. Turn 6, yellow flag out. Adrian has dropped to the back of the field. I'm not too sure why. I think I've missed that one. Those top 3 starting to inch away from Ross. Lap 3 of 27, so DRS is now enabled in this Grand Prix. Doesn't look massively sunny out there, but we're not expecting any rain. So little clusters of 3. We've got Tamino, Josh and Wee. Then we've got Ross, Wiggles and Ripley. And then we've got Shake Me Head, Snacks and Hungry Throne. And here comes Snacks now. Braking late. Hits the apex. Gets that overtake done. And Shake Me Head's lost 2 places there just because he hasn't had the DRS down that main straight. And Felix is joining in on that fight for what is 7th place. Wiggles has made his way past Ross into the first corner. Let's battle out front. We said that Snacks in 7th has his own little gap, like his own little group, but that group has now joined on to the back of this fight for 4th, so this battle for 4th now is between Mr. Wiggles, Ross, Ripley, Snacks, Hungry Throne, Shake Me Head and Felix. So this is a 7-car fight now for 4th place. And all of these drivers, with the exception of Wiggles, should get some DRS down towards the first corner. Ripley pulling out, maybe trying to have a look down the inside of Ross in the first corner, but thinks better of it. Ripley on those hard tyres, obviously at this stage in the race. Oh, as he... Snacks he didn't go for the move there. He just realised that he broke a bit too late. Oh, and I think Hungry Throne's had a bit of contact, possibly with Snacks, and I think he's just lost out in the background there. So he's dropped out of the points. Good start for TD. He's up to 11th, and Exotic now into the points. Good starts from the pair of them. But yeah, I'm not sure Snacks went for the move there. I think he just missed his braking. Realised he was going to hit Ripley, so just moved to the side to avoid contact. I think Hungry Throne just got a bit caught out by that, and in the end now finds himself in 12th behind TD. no real incidents per se. We've had a couple of spinners perhaps in the opening couple of laps. Adrian, John Pant. Greg's cut across the first couple of corners off the start and got a 10-second time penalty. May get that removed, you know. Just depends on what the steward thinks. In the background we got Greg going down the inside of Colucci. Bit of contact there. And Colucci seeing if he can head back past Greg. Keeping hold of P14. Caris, nice start from him. He's on the back of that train in the battle for the final point. He's currently 13th place and has made some moves in these opening 5 or 6 laps. Mr. Colucci defending here from Greg, Padge, Mason and Subfalime. There goes Greg now down the inside with the DRS. Fair move as Colucci goes off track. Loses a place to his teammate Padge. And Mason goes past as well into 16th place. So TD getting pretty close to the back of Hungry Throne, who I think has just made that overtake on TD in the Ferrari. Goes TD, the red light flashing on the back of Hungry Throne's car means he's got less than 25% ERS left. TD on the hards. Hungry Throne on the mediums. TD going around the long way. He'll have more track to go through there. As we see a change for the lead. Josh has now overtaken Tamino. Side by side, TD and Hungry Throne. TD gets the move done and is up into 11th place here. Nice racing there from TD on a slower compound tyre. Deflator we going for the move, partially alongside, but just backs out there. Tamino not forced off track, but had to brake late to stay ahead. Does go off track in the process, and Mr. Wiggles is off. He's off at Ascari. And he's losing places, and what has happened with Mr. Wiggles? Was there contact maybe with Ross or Ripley? Or maybe Snacks, but Mr. Wiggles is off at Ascari and now finds himself at the back of the train for the final point of this race. Hungry Throne currently has it. Padge and Colucci, Hungry Throne pits, changing places around Greg. So Colucci did lead Greg and then Padge. Two McLarens have swapped around here. As in the background you see Greg going side by side with Padge, going down the inside, and in turn 1 Greg gets that move done. He's up to 13th place. Good evening, Joseph Hales. How you doing, mate? So Hungry Throne, hungry for the hard tyres. He'll spend the rest of the race on them. Here comes Mr. Wiggles. We know he's got good pace, was running up there in 4th or 5th place in the last few laps, but I'm sure Mr. Wiggles will be hoping to make moves up this field, back into the points. Exotic Plains, good race so far from him. Qualified, went out of qualifying in Q1. Here comes Mr. Wiggles. TD leaves the space, but there was no way Mr. Wiggles was going for a dive bomb there. He's way too clean for that. As Shake Me Head on the soft tyre, nice little stint there. But he does pit onto a set of hard compound tyres, so maybe he is going for the one stop. Maybe he knows something that we don't. And there goes Mr. Wiggles back up into 9th place now after Shake Me Head has pitted. And Tamino retaking the lead in the last few moments. Oh, and Felix goes for a spin at turn 5. That was quite good timing. joining on board, but obviously for Felix's perspective, that is not what he was hoping for. Just drops behind Exotic and has a Mr. Wiggles right behind him now. So Exotic here, having a fantastic race with that lovely little fish helmet. Does find himself 7 seconds behind Snacks in 7th place, but when you start at the back of the field, oh, big slide there from Exotic. That cost him maybe 2 places. As there goes Mr. Wiggles, that would be a sensational double move if he made that work, but thought better of it. This race is just keeping on giving. That top 3 as Mr. Exotic Plains pits from the mediums. That's a very early pit stop for the medium compound tyre there, but maybe he's going for a bit of an undercut. Maybe there's a gap he's spotted that he can slot into. Oh, and contact there. Josh and Deflated Wee. I think Deflated Wee was going around the outside for a move into turn 4. And just a bit of wheel contact there between the two. This might give Tamino an incentive to use some of his ERS. Now, that slight bit of contact has allowed Ross to be within 1 second of Deflated Wee and might help himself to a bit of DRS here. We saw in the opening few laps, you can see there Ross's red light is flashing at the back of the car. He has been using a lot of energy here to close that gap to the top 3. And it's a good job he has, really, because now that he's got the DRS, he can save his ERS energy and just maybe think about an undercut on Josh and Wee, specifically Deflated Wee. Plenty of moves up the field, plenty of people having DRS, it would seem, as Mr. Wiggles and Padge go into the pits, take off their old medium compound tyres and put on a new set of hard compound tyres. Tamino's coming back into this now. Obviously those medium tyres, people are starting to pit off of them and get them off the car. They're starting to get very old, very scrubbed, very worn. So now Tamino has an opportunity to escape 2nd, 3rd and 4th. He's already got Josh out of his DRS range. Question is though, as Ross gets past Deflated Wee, who has had a bit of an issue there at Ascari and loses a place. Question will be, when will Josh, Ross, Wee, Snacks, Felix all pit? They're all staying out. What about Snacks? He's had a good race so far. Up in 6th. Felix, after gaining 7th, has held on to it. But he does pit. There goes Greg. Caris has his teammate Adrian behind. There comes Adrian. Caris brakes late, gives him the space, but goes too deep into the corner and had to go off the track there. Gives the position to his teammate, which is very sporting, and definitely won't get a penalty for that. So, with that mistake from Wee last lap, Ross is up to 3rd place now. And after starting in 8th place, I did say in the 5-minute break, watch out because he'll just get on the podium, and he already is. And we're not even halfway through this Grand Prix. That was my job today, Joseph Hales, to do the report. I knew I wasn't racing, so I thought I'd do the report tonight. Yeah, with the stream more of a priority, we'll do that. I'll do the steward report straight after. Snacks pits from the mediums onto the hards. Greg up into 6th, Adrian up into 7th. Colucci into the points, and Mason running in the points on his 81 debut. Josh back within DRS range here, so may have had to use some ERS. Maybe those mediums haven't gone off, maybe he just had a couple of bad laps a few laps ago. But he is back within DRS range now. Ross is obviously, now that Deflated Wee's not in between Josh and Ross, isn't over a second behind Josh. Biggest gap in this race is between that top cluster of drivers. You can put Snacks in there as well after his pit stop, as Ross pits, and so does Ripley. So Ripley will be boxing onto a set of mediums. Ross will go onto the hard compound tyre. Ross will be looking for an undercut here. Oh, and Ripley goes onto a second set of medium tyres. I think that's a mistake there. He'll need to go onto 2 different tyre compounds for this race. So I think Ripley's had a bit of a mare there. He will need to make another pit stop in this race, as Colucci also boxes onto mediums. So yeah, as I was saying, that top little cluster of Tamino, Josh, Wee, Ross, Ripley, Snacks, that top 6 seem to be in a lot better place than everyone else, and definitely, without any mistakes of course, should finish in the top 6 here. If a safety car were to come out this lap or next lap, this top 3 would massively benefit, because they've got a 15-second gap behind Greg. And could definitely change their tyres within 15 seconds. Plenty of fights going on up and down the field. Snacks sets the new fastest lap of the race, and Ripley heads past Sub back into the points in 10th. Snacks is on the back of that group as well, trying to follow Ripley through the field. Tamino's done really well to maintain some awesome pace out front. Has led every single race, every single lap this race, apart from maybe 2. Ross is perhaps getting a bit held up here by Mason, and this undercut opportunity that he's gone for on Josh and Wee might be a little bit compromised, but anyway, he does get past Mason as Tamino pits from the lead, and Josh is staying out. I wonder if he's going onto a set of soft compound tyres for the second stint of this race. Tamino and Wee pit, there's a 3 or 4 second gap between them two. And this is the real thing. Where is Wee going to come out in relation to Ross? They're heading out of the pit lane now, and that is Deflated Wee behind Ross and Ripley, who are renewing their rivalry this season. Deflated Wee stuck his nose in there, I thought, maybe, and seems to have paid the price. Not too sure. We didn't see Wee's perspective there, so hard to tell really who was at fault there, but definitely it looked like Ross and Ripley were fighting, so maybe we would have been better just sitting out of that one and biding his time, getting those hard tyres up to temperature. But now Deflated Wee has lost a place to Snacks, who is up to 8th place. Ross, that pit stop, obviously you do gain some ERS back when you're in the pits going that slowly. But still, with not a lot, Ripley won't go for the move here into the final corner because he can get DRS down the main straight. And indeed, he does just sit back here. He's got a quicker set of tyres on the car than Ross. Potentially, it might be beneficial here for Ross to let Ripley use those medium compound tyres and start to gain time on Tamino, who currently is sitting pretty for the race win. Snacks and Wee in a battle for 8th, but will be 5th once Akaris, Adrian and Greg pit. But Snacks just getting a bit of oversteer there out of turn 5 and just lifts off the throttle there. Says if we carry on the way we are, we're going to have a crash, so I'll just let you through here. And I'll get you back another lap perhaps. John Pant, sub, yet to pit as well. Only 5 drivers yet to pit in this race. Expect to see them into the pits in the next 2 or 3 laps. And I wonder if Shake My Head can get some points on his debut. That would be a good little story, wouldn't it, as Greg pits from 2nd place. And what tyre will he put on the car? Will it be mediums or will it be softs? And it is medium compound tyres for Greg. So it's still too early to put on the soft tyres. Maybe that's what Josh, Adrian, Kari, Sub, John, Pant are waiting for. And the Karis has lagged out. That is very unfortunate. Ripley's made his way past the Karis, and here comes Ross now. Obviously, Karis has ghosted, now he's lagged out. We're back on with this group because they're very close here. Shake My Head defending from John Pant on old tyres. Hungry Throne and Mr. Wiggles involved in this fight. Felix, who had a bit of a spin earlier on as well, he's involved in that. As Josh finally pits from the lead. Tamino is very close to the back of Adrian in the final corner. And Josh puts on a set of soft compound tyres. This could be very interesting. Tamino makes the move on Adrian, who stays out. Josh comes out of the pits just a little bit behind the top 2 here. A few seconds. Ripley obviously has nice toasty tyres. Makes the move on Josh. But once those softs get up to speed, I get the feeling it's only a matter of time really before Josh makes his way past. As in turn 1, oh, Shake My Head's lost a bit of traction, bit of contact there with John Pant. Doesn't look like there was too much. But John Pant on old hard tyres, yet to pit in this race, is still fighting reasonably well here. Mr. Wiggles has lost a couple of seconds on this group. I wonder if there was an incident between him and Hungry Throne, maybe. Softs won't last. Puncture territory. Oh, we'll have to wait and see, of course. Here comes Shake My Head down the inside now of John Pant, giving each other space. Bit of wheel contact with John Pant, who's lost a bit of momentum. Keeps hold of 10th though. Obviously he'll be pitting imminently for a set of soft compound tyres, so Maybe it's not worth fighting this hard. Maybe you're just going to lose more time in the grand scheme of things. And he does come into the pits now on lap 20. Here comes Greg. New medium tyres for him. He's almost back into the points now, and if he can use those medium tyres to gain on that 3 ahead of him, might find himself in 8th place here. Where was high on Tuesday? Did 20 laps on hards at 77%, so just over half those laps will be tough. Indeed, maybe Josh is good at preserving his tyres, maybe he's not pushing flat out right now, we just don't know. Adrian still hasn't pitted, maybe hoping for a safety car. The only driver out there yet to pit is Adrian. Normally we'd expect to see Adrian up there fighting for podiums, but dropped to the back off the start and has just been in damage limitation mode as he does finally pit on the end of lap 20. Ripley and Josh, we did say once Josh got his softs up to temperature, he would find it relatively straightforward getting past Ripley, and indeed he has. Adrian's come out on soft tyres. I'm sure anyone seeing that in game is quaking in their boots. Snacks has lost a lot of time here, and I'm not sure where. He was in the fight, maybe. Definitely was solid for 6th place, but I think he's had a mistake now and again. And he now finds himself 12 seconds behind Deflated Wee. So I think Snacks has had a bit of a moment somewhere. TD not happy. What's happened, mate? Anything happen from your perspective as Hungry Throne is in 7th place, defending from Shake Me Head, Felix, Greg, Wiggles, Colucci, Adrian and Pajestic. This is a massive train now in what is the fight for 8th place. Here comes Felix. Shake Me Head's happy to let Felix go here because Felix is not going to get the DRS, but Shake Me Head just a bit of a wiggle, those hard tyres, meeting to the point of slight traction loss. Ripley took you out, that's a shame, TD. I'm sorry for that, mate. Down the inside goes Greg. Back into the points now, Greg, but with that time penalty, might find it hard to stay there as he's got 4 drivers behind, very close. John Pant sets a new fastest lap of the race from 17th on in this race. And Tamino leads Josh by 4.4 seconds. And doesn't look like giving that lead up. Here you are, Ripley behind, out of the DRS. Ross is in 4th, a few seconds behind from a potential podium. As here comes Greg now on our debutant down the inside of Ascari, makes the move done and gains possession of 9th. Colucci and Adrian in the background swapping places. Mr. Wiggles side by side now with Shake Me Head. And Mr. Wiggles back up into the points now after an earlier error. Adrian here, if he can pick off these people, might be able to start gaining on Felix, who's in 8th place, but with only 4 or 5 laps remaining, might find 8th place a little bit too out of his grasp. But it's there for him if he wants it, and if he's quick enough, of course. Left to Carswith going down to Parabolica. Hits my rear left with his wing before he even starts turning, and that's your race over. That is unfortunate, mate. There's been a few incidents in this race where Just a bit of argy-bargy. Maybe people being a bit impatient. This hungry throw. Oh, and Snacks is off! Will this be a safety car? It's just a yellow flag right now. Snacks has got going again. And he's deciding to let someone through, perhaps? Yellow flag in Sector 2 and 3. Wonder if he's missing a wing. He's got the wing there, but he does have damage, so maybe he's just taking it steady on the way back into the pits. Maybe he's shouting at his screen, perhaps. Hashtag Padge for points. I am well up for that, mate. But these two will have to stop fighting. And Padge will, of course, have to beat his teammate, who is now on the move. Colucci trying to make his way past Adrian here. Has a very stubborn Ferrari driver in front. This is going to be close going into turn 4. Padge just lying in wait here, not getting involved in anything he shouldn't, but not wise to stick your nose in this fight. And Felix struggling somewhat to defend from Greg, who has found some real great pace on these medium compound tyres. Greg now up to 7th. He does have the time penalty, but if he can use the pace of those mediums here, might be able to keep a spot in the points. In the long term, Tamino leads by 4.2 seconds, and with only 2 laps left, plus the one they're on, get the feeling Tamino is going to win this race. Josh is in 2nd, and it's a valiant effort going onto those soft tyres, trying to close that gap to Tamino, but maybe it was an unrealistic risk there as Felix defends from Greg, but just loses out to Wiggles in the process. Not too much wrong there. Ross, great race, started in 8th, found himself in 3rd, battling with Ripley a few times this evening. Currently 4th place. May still be ahead of Ripley on penalties once this race is finished. If he can stay within 3 seconds of Ripley. Greg with that 10-second time penalty actually might get it removed. We did see someone cut across the first corner at the first lap as Tamino sets a new fastest lap. How has he done that? On old tyres. How on earth has he done that? Deflated wheat. Solid race, but maybe just didn't quite have the pace to catch Ross in this last stint. Hungry Throne had a mistake in the early part of the race. He's actually escaped this group now. Really good pace from Hungry Throne to have a solid grip on P6. As I said, Greg's storm through the field in this race has been very impressive. Honestly, Snack, sometimes being a reserve's better because there's no pressure. Got an Alfa Romeo in the pits. I believe that's John Pant. Possibly pitting for a set of soft tyres. With no pressure but no grip. That is unfortunate, mate. Sometimes the hard tyres work for you, sometimes they don't. But it is the best strategy, it would seem, with the hards on. Mr. Wiggles, after a mistake early on, he's fought back into the points now. Felix too also had a spin in 9th place. Solid recovery. Adrian was at the back on the opening couple of laps, but through strategy and good pace has found his way back into the points. And it's still not over. It's the final lap of the race. Tamino coming through Sector 2 with a 5-second lead. Here comes Wiggles on Greg. Felix wants a piece of the action, and with only 1 lap left, these 4 will be fighting tooth and nail for some extra points if they can get it. And Exotic Plains has spun at Ascari. That's dropped him to the back of the field. Very unfortunate there for Exotic, who was hoping for some points after dropping out of quali in Q1. But MBR Tamino, what can we say? Had a slow start to quali, but bossed Q2 and Q3. Took pole position by 0.3 of a second and hasn't given up his lead, with the exception of a couple of laps, and wins in Monza on assist tier 1. Josh will extend his lead at the top of the championship with a strong 2nd place finish. Ripley finishes in 3rd, ahead of Ross, who just can't get within 3 seconds of Ripley in his Alpine. Deflatorwee finishes 5th. Nice solid drive there, and just couldn't quite close the gap to Ross in that final stage. As Hungary thrown 6th place. Greg may get that penalty removed. Does finish on track in 7th place. Padge misses out on points by half a second, provisionally of course. Adrian Felix, Shake Me Head on his debut into the points at this stage. Kari Sub finishing the race, reserving from AT2. Solid races from those two. Should be very proud of your achievements here in a quicker division. Mason on his AT1 debut hasn't quite had the race pace of the AT1 drivers this evening, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll see Mason perform very well in AT2. John Pant finishes in 17th behind his teammate with the fastest lap, so Tamino will not get 26 points here tonight. And Exotic Plains maybe just doing some donuts for us. Reset to track, a bit naughty. I don't think we'll penalise you for that because everyone's finished. But yeah, please don't reset to track in the future. And just being a bit silly at the end there. Yeah, Greg, what happened with the time penalty, mate? Not too sure what to make of that one. Spun twice as Mason. Well, don't worry, mate. Got Sunday night to prove what you're made of, and maybe this race will give you a bit of confidence for that one. Exhausted, you know, if you qualified pole and had this kind of race, it would feel bad. So the fact that qualifying didn't work out and the race didn't work out, you know, just scrap that one out of your mind. Look forward to next one. MBL Tamino, they're taking 25 points here this evening at Monza. Josh and Ripley on the podium. As for driver of the day, well, that's a tough call. You know what? Credit where credit's due. I'm giving it to Padge. A lot of these fast drivers get it a lot of the time, and I just want to be a bit different tonight. I'm going to give it to a driver who has absolutely worked his butt off to get quicker. Padge has really done that. No penalties, just misses out on some points by half a second. Definitely special mention to Shake Me Head for a really strong debut tonight. Obviously, Tamino bossing it out top, special mention as well. Greg, if that penalty does get removed, obviously he'll be in with a shout at special mention as well. Only 2 retirements, Snacks and TD retiring in the pits. No safety cars, no VSCs here tonight. Pretty straightforward, and John Pant there with the fastest lap of the race. Wasn't your day with race pace? Messed up your practice tyres? No hard info. Don't worry, mate. It's you know, you win some, you lose some. Sometimes you have a race to forget. First laps had got up to P9, then the rear just kept snapping. We didn't get lapped, only just. Well, at least you didn't get lapped, mate. So, just a reminder, one more race this week on Sunday night will be taking place at 8 PM GMT, not 7:30 PM as normal. Just we're delaying it so the in real life Brazil race can finish before we get going. If there's a red flag, we'll still carry on at 8 PM, you know, and you'll just have to catch up with the race whenever you can. But make sure you join us on Sunday night. Next week, where are we next week? Let's have a quick look. Next week, we will be in Singapore for one of the toughest race weekends on the calendar. 3 races, of course. Tuesday for no assist, Thursday assist tier 1, Sunday for assist tier 2. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be really, really good. All that's left for me to do is thank you to every single person who's been involved in the stream tonight, in the chat. Really, really appreciate you keeping me company this evening. And just deciding who to raid. Might raid this guy or raid someone new tonight. Yeah, let's raid this guy. Doing some more F1. I hope you really enjoy it. Go say hi, drop a follow, whatever you want to do. And we'll see you on Sunday night for Assist Tier 2 here at Monza. Well, Tamino wins tonight, but who will win on Sunday night? Why don't you come along and find out? As for then, we'll see you next week.